In Venezuela's western state of Táchira, the attempted rape of a university student triggered a series of protests asking the government of Nicolás Maduro for better safety conditions in their university campus. When Maduro responded with excessive force and calling them fascists, the protests escalated to include many complaints that had been breeding in the society, like the rampant crime in the street, purposely provoked by paid government thugs as state policy to control the masses through fear, the censorship of all national and international press, the systematic infiltration of a Castro-communist ideology throughout all the spheres of society, including the health system, the indoctrination of school children, and even handing out the control of our armed forces and national sovereignty to Cuba. The calculated destruction of private enterprise through closures and expropriations to maximize control through poverty and hunger, while crude oil, the natural and immense wealth of the country, is given as handouts to buy political allies or is revenue siphoned out to personal bank accounts abroad. The forgery of all the elections of the last 10 years, carefully orchestrated from Cuba, allowing the regime to survive by operating under the protection of a democracy mask, obscuring the reality of what is happening in Venezuela, which is an uncompromising Cuban invasion. As the protests spread throughout Venezuela, the use of force intensified to riot control equipment, the use of firearms, detentions and humiliating treatment, which now claims over 30 lives, hundreds of wounded and thousands of detainees. Witnesses' accounts prove brutal violations of human rights, including physical and psychological torture and rape, atrocities shamefully ignored by the complicity of a mostly corrupted organization of American states whose consciences have been bought by oil. The protests now demand the resignation of Nicolás Maduro, a former bus driver whose victory by a narrow 1% difference was never recognized by the opposition, who demanded a vote recount that never happened. In addition, being Venezuelan by birth is a constitutional requisite to become president. Mr. Maduro, suspected to have been born in Colombia, has been unable to show his birth certificate. In an attempt to stop the protesters, government allies have threatened with lethal counterattacks and with the most profound social shock to ever have taken place in Venezuela, and that at the right time, Diosdado Cabello, the President of the National Assembly, would give the order. What order is that? Will the communist regime of Raúl Castro and Nicolás Maduro stop at nothing to remain in power, even genocide? This video makes a call to the democratic and decent people of the world to cast your eyes to what is happening in Venezuela. The people of Venezuela are claiming the rescue of their sovereignty and a peaceful democracy, not a Castro-communist dictatorship imposed by force, where human rights are ignored and the rule of law is non-existent, and where the government has the audacity to say they have to keep the people poor in order to keep them wanting.